we'll see. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Happy Thanksgiving, fans. Welcome to our Steelers Thanksgiving episode. I'm your host, Jim Sella, here with Jay Dash. The Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Indianapolis Colts on Thanksgiving night, an 8:30 Eastern time start. The Steelers fans better get used to this because Pittsburgh plays Baltimore on Christmas Day, so our holidays are going to be filled up with sports and a little less family. Thank God.
Let's hope they're good holidays here, though.
Believe it.
Losing on the holidays sucks, man.
Yeah. I'm going to be at Easy's for the game. Are you going to be there?
Probably, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna be there no later than halftime, but probably somewhere like mid first quarter. I'll make it.
Ball.
Believe it. PA, I'm gracing you with my presence again. What do we got for the fans this week? This is going to be a tough matchup. The biggest news right now: Andrew Luck is concussed. He's in the protocol. A lot of fans don't know whether he's going to play or not. Pretty much social media has written him off and said Luck will not be there. It will be Scott Tolzien. I'm not totally sold. Roethlisberger says he expects Luck to play because he's a tough guy. I respect that.
It's not about toughness in this situation, though.
Exactly. It's the concussion protocol. Andrew Luck, unless he lies to the trainers about symptoms and plays concussed, that's really the only way to get out of protocol.
They've already listed him with a concussion, though, so he has the concussion. And on a short week, if there's a concussion protocol on a short week, there's no way this guy's going to play, or else the concussion protocol's stupid.
I completely agree.
So I think it is going to be Scott Tolzien in this game. They actually, in Vegas, have the Steelers at -3 if Andrew Luck plays, I'm guessing. But they also have it in other places at -7, and I'm guessing they're saying Scott Tolzien is going to be the quarterback. And really, -7's a lot of points for the Steelers on the road. I know they went out and blew out the Browns or whatever, but even a Scott Tolzien-led Indianapolis Colts seem better than the Browns to me.
I think the biggest reason for that is the 30 or 32nd ranked defense by the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, they are really bad this year, especially against the pass, and they're bad with Andrew Luck at the helm. So if they got Scott Tolzien, I don't think too many people expect them to be able to do much in this football game. But me and you know, we have seen this Pittsburgh Steelers team on the road, and it's not the same as at home, although they are on prime time, and the Steelers usually ball on prime time.
Yeah, I think that's the difference to me, because really, you even look last week, you could say the Browns' defense is just as bad as the Colts. I don't care what the numbers are. And the Steelers scored 24 points, but there was a defensive touchdown in that game. So really, that offense didn't look good. Big Ben didn't even have 200 yards passing. He didn't have a touchdown thrown in that game. And now you got to go out here and play the Colts, which, if you remember, Big Ben playing the Colts, was it last year? He put up 50 points or something on them.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. It was a 5-touchdown game, I believe, one of his back-to-back 5-touchdown games.
Believe it.
So that's the one thing they got going for them. We remember on the road from week 1, they went into Washington. That was a primetime game, and the Steelers' offense looked really good in that game, and I'm hoping that's what happens this week.
Who averages more points per game off the top of your head, do you think, Pittsburgh or Indianapolis, offensively?
Offensively, do you have just the offensive numbers?
I just have the numbers on the app. It just says points per game, but it's listed under offense, so it probably groups in the defensive points.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say the Colts.
Yeah, 26.3 per game. Pittsburgh's only at 23.8. And for everybody, and I've been saying it, so I'm not, discluding myself from this, harping on this Steeler defense, they're still only giving up 21.5 points per game. If the offense was averaging the 30 points per game that they were supposed to, I think we would be a lot better than 5-5 right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. I can't believe the Steelers' offense are averaging 23 plus this season. They got to be way better than that, man. They got to put it together. And like we said in the last segment, man, it got to come in the receiving game. It can't just be Antonio Brown and then dump offs to Le'Veon Bell. There has to be something else. Like you mentioned, you want to see Sammy Coates step back up to do what he was doing earlier in the season. I want to see Eli Rogers step up and do what he did the past few weeks prior to last week. And I mean, we want to see Marcus Wheaton come back. We're not a big Marcus Wheaton fan necessarily, but without Marcus Wheaton and without Sammy Coates, and Eli Rogers didn't do much last week, again, you need something else. And if it's Marcus Wheaton, it's Marcus Wheaton.
He's out, I'm pretty sure. I think he's done for the year.
He's done for the year now?
I think after that shoulder injury in practice, they might have put him on the IR.
Oh, man, that hurts. Kobe Hamilton, when he first came in a few weeks ago, he had that touchdown in his first game. It looked like he could do a couple things, but really since he hasn't been doing much either. He might, now that you say Marcus Wheaton's out for the season, I knew he was still out, but out for the season, that sucks. Now, Ladarius Green has to step into some kind of role in this offense.
You know what else could get this offense scoring more points? Running the football better. The Steelers are only averaging 96.2 rushing yards per game. That's only 23rd in the NFL. The Colts, who we say are terrible at running the football, are right behind them at 24th with 95.8 yards per game. So maybe if Pittsburgh could run the ball better, they can start to utilize that play action pass and actually get some players downfield, because right now they're doing a lot of those short passes, which works. It gets them some yardage. It gets AB his catches, but it isn't putting points on the board. We need chunks of yards somewhere. So if they can start running the football better, it'll back those safeties off a little bit. It'll open up some room, and hopefully some big plays can come out of it.
Well, you said they're barely better than the Indianapolis Colts, and I hear a lot of talk that Frank Gore has had a bad season. He's just not the same player. And really, last year, me and you had a bet about if he'd have 1,000 yards or not, and I think he barely didn't make it. Just shy, yes. Now, this season, I was talking to JK47 about it earlier, and I was like, Frank Gore, I mean, I heard so much that he was having a bad season. This was close to a month ago now. But then he was like, man, he's putting up fantasy points every week. And then I go look at his numbers, and I mean, he's not that terrible. He has 642 yards rushing already. So it looks like this could be a season where he does gain 1,000 yards rushing.
Beast. I love Frank Gore. I don't care what anybody says. He's old and he's still doing it.
Yeah, and I tell you what, another guy on this offense, T.Y. Hilton, he's quietly been one of the best receivers in the NFL this season. And why I say he had is having a quiet season is probably because the Colts were supposed to be better this season. And really, we thought they'd take a step up from a poor season last year with an injured Andrew Luck. And now they're just sitting at 5-5. So I guess, I don't know if it's been quiet or not, but you really haven't heard too much about T.Y. Hilton. He has 99 targets already, 57 receptions, 888 yards, and 5 touchdowns. There's no one else even close on this offense in yardage. Second on the team is Jack Doyle with 386 yards receiving. Now, we know Dante Moncrief has been injured this season, and he's actually, I think he scored a touchdown last week. Correct? Yeah, he did. And, I mean, when he plays, he's been a solid receiver, so this receiving core is pretty good, but really, T.Y. Hilton is the only one that has done anything this season so far.
I need Dante Moncrief to catch a touchdown pass for my fantasy team.
Yeah, I expect him to have a solid game, actually, man. Dante Moncrief is a good wide receiver, and really, they need to find, just like the Steelers, the Indianapolis Colts have to find something outside of T.Y. Hilton in this passing game. And like I said, Moncrief's been injured this season. They were expecting more out of him, obviously. And with him healthy now, I think you're going to see more of him. And Philip Dorsett's another guy that could be used more. He's a guy with some upside. They only threw the ball to him 39 times this season. That's targets. He only has 21 receptions. So they have some talent out there, but they just haven't been spreading it around, sort of like Big Ben. Andrew Luck got to look at more than just T.Y. Hilton.
Will Bud Dupree actually play in this football game? He only played, I believe, 1 snap in that game in Cleveland, but I think that was mostly because the defense was playing so well. There was no reason to really rush him out there so early after coming off the IR.
But again, that's a game you want to get these guys into and get them feeling good about moving forward, and they just didn't seem to do. Now, defensively, I will say they did some things that they should feel good about going into this game. But Bud Dupree could have been one that they could have got in there a little bit more last week. I hope he does get in this game because really, I mean, I'm not saying outside of last week. The defense has had some good games this season, but we need to see more of these young guys, and Bud Dupree is one of those guys.
Any chance the Steelers can get 5 sacks in this game after an 8-sack performance in Cleveland last week?
Well, I want to see them send those linebackers again. I don't want to see the 3-man rush, the 4-man rush. I do want to see them send some linebackers after the quarterback. But Andrew Luck has been sacked 35 times through 10 games this season, so that's 3.5 times per game. Now we know he may not play. It might be Scott Tolzien. So 5 times, you said?
Yeah.
I think that's a possibility. Do I think they'll do it? No, I think that's a little high to guess before a game. I would say closer to 3 or 4.
I like that the Steelers actually got after Cleveland with a 4-man rush last week, too. It was successful. They've been trying to use the 4-man rush, but even that was successful last week. So it was nice to see them get some push. If you notice, Stephon Tuitt moved around on the D-line a lot, too. He didn't stay put like he normally does when Cam Hayward's there. So it looks like they're going to try to utilize his talent and take advantage of some mismatches along that D-line with Tuitt. And that could really work to his advantage because he can really get after the quarterback for a D-lineman, especially a Steelers defensive lineman.
Yeah, and I think it'd be perfect to get at Scott Tolzien if he's the quarterback in this game and force him to win this game. I mean, you got to do what you did last week against the Cleveland Browns, which was stop the run, which they did a great job without Cameron Hayward. We said it before, without Cameron Hayward, they've been getting blasted in the run game. They stepped up big time last week. I don't know if they're going to be able to repeat that performance, but that's what you want to do is you want to force Tolzien to beat you, and if they can get to the quarterback, I think he's going to make a couple mistakes in this game, and maybe Artie Burns comes up with, his 3rd interception on the season?
Be sweet. That would be 3 more than Ike Taylor ever had in his career.
I think he had 1 or 2, didn't
he? Wheaton is on IR. I just looked it up, and I think Ike had 3 in one season one year, and that was his career high in a season.
I believe it.
But Wheaton and Hayward both went on IR the same day.
Yeah, so like you said I think it was the last segment, Sammy Coates, this guy,
need him.
I mean, you've seen the difference between when he's playing well and what this offense is doing and when he's non-factor in what this offense does. I mean, you just played the Cleveland Browns and your offense scored, 17 points?
Yeah, because the defense put up 7.
Yeah, so that's pathetic to me, and you're still on the road here. The one thing, like you said, is primetime games, for some reason, they play a little bit differently.
What is Marcus Wheaton's future here in Pittsburgh? Do you think they'll re-sign him in the offseason? Because I think he was a restricted free agent after this year, so they tendered him an offer. So that makes him a free agent again next year because he signed the 1-year deal.
Well, when Sammy Coates was playing well, you thought Marcus Wheaton was gone in a heartbeat, especially with what Eli Rogers has done so far as well. You still have a decision to make on Martavis Bryant going into next season. He could be back if you wanted. Marcus Wheaton really hasn't done much as a Pittsburgh Steeler. He has 1 200-yard game. I think that was last season, and really nothing else. But I guess it depends on what you see out of these guys moving forward. Is Eli Rogers going to become more consistent and a reliable target for Ben? Is Sammy Coates ever going to have a catch again in the NFL? Is Martavis Bryant going to play? So there's a lot of questions to still what you want to do, but I would say no, Marcus Wheaton isn't going to be back, and someone's going to give him a chance to be a number 2.
I'm just reading a quote from Tomlin. He says of Bud Dupree, sorry, this is a little off topic, but we were talking about it a minute ago. He said, we wanted to minimize his exposure to the game. We didn't want fatigue and things of that nature to become a factor in his first time out, much like we didn't want that with Ladarius Green 1 week prior. The game circumstance had something to do with that plan.
Yeah, see, I just see it differently.
Snap, I think he could have handled more than 1 snap.
I agree, and especially the way they were dominating that offensive line, you could have definitely had him feeling real good about this game.
Tomlin says of Sammy Coates, it's the fact that he's got 2 broken fingers on 1 hand. It doesn't limit him from a special team standpoint, as you can reference his 3 special teams tackles. but it does make it increasingly difficult to catch the football. He's healthy enough to play. He just can't catch the ball as cleanly with 2 broken fingers. You played some receiver in football. Obviously, high school isn't nearly the same, but a broken finger and catching a football is what it is. When it's cold and that ball is hard and it was as windy as it was in Cleveland, it probably hurts like hell to catch a football thrown by Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, I'll tell you what, and this isn't even a lie. I played half of my senior season with a broken hand, and I didn't come out. I didn't even tell my coaches, to tell you the truth. I think they knew my hand was broken. They didn't say anything. I didn't want to say anything. So, I don't know. It hurt. Yes, it definitely hurt. But what did this guy do to his hand? He had a laceration or something on it before he got 17 stitches. He has broken fingers all over the place. What did he do? Put this thing in a wood chipper?
Maybe he was feverishly beating off and then whacked his hand off the counter because he was doing it in meetings underneath the table.
Do you remember how he injured his hand seriously? Like, what did he do to this hand?
I think he injured it in a game, honestly. I think maybe it got stepped on or something.
Man, that thing must have gone mangled.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
well,
laceration part is weird because when I hear laceration, I think of like more of a clean cut. You know what I mean? Like a blade that cut him or something. And you wouldn't think that cleats could give him a long enough cut to need that many stitches. You would think it'd be more of some puncture wounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not like baseball where they have metal cleats.
Right. So that just kind of, I don't know. I think there's something more to the story and we just don't know it.
He is a big loss because he's our deep threat, and without Martavis Bryant, without Sammy Coates, and really without Darius Hayward-Bay, that deep threat, I know Antonio Brown can catch the deep ball, but it's not the same thing. You don't have that guy that you just send down the field and once, twice, maybe 3 times a game you try to go deep to him, and it really changes the field position in a game, if nothing else. So they really don't have, all 3 of their deep ball guys are not there right now.
With the struggles of the offense this year, after again having high hopes and wanting to be 30-plus points a game, is Martavis Bryant worth another look next season?
Well, I always think he is. It's marijuana. These guys smoke it. Some get caught, some don't. He's an idiot about it, for sure. But, man, Martavis Bryant was such a beast. Didn't he have a catch in the end zone where he did like a front flip or something as he was catching it?
Yeah, that was in the Cincinnati playoff game last year.
Ridiculous. That guy is a monster.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's just weed. I could care less if these guys are smoking weed. Honestly, I could care less if they're doing any drugs. It's their body. They can do whatever they want. If they're out blowing coke the night before the game, I really don't care. I'm not a fan of Martavis Bryant, the person. I'm not saying I hate him. I'm just saying I'm a fan of Martavis Bryant, the wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I only care what he does on the field. And, you know, I'm not saying they could go out and beat women or rape women. There is a line that I draw. But for me, drugs, if you want to do them, that's your thing, man. I don't really have any say in what you put in your body. If you want to kill yourself that way, you can do it. I don't even think marijuana is that big of a deal. It's no worse than smoking cigarettes or drinking alcohol, and they're allowed to do that. So I don't see why, if it was me, I would definitely give Bryant another chance. The thing you worry about is if you sign him to a deal and then he gets knocked for another year, then you're paying this dude to just sit around. So they would actually have to work something into the language of the contract to keep themselves safe from that. I don't even care if Sammy Coates is going off. I'd still give Martavis Bryant another look next season.
I agree. All right.
Even if Coates played the way he did through the first 5 weeks still, could you imagine having AB, you could move him into the slot to let him work, you know, around the middle of the field and have Hayward-Bay, or excuse me, you could have Martavis Bryant and Coates on the outside. That would be beast.
And Eli Rogers in 4 wide.
Wouldn't even need to split Le'Veon wide anymore. He splits out wide a lot now.
I kind of like it, but it would be better if D'Angelo Williams was healthy.
Yeah, there's never, when you see him do it, it's almost always in a no running back set.
Yeah,
you know,
that's the problem.
And what about the offense in the end of the first half in that Cleveland game? They went for it a few times. They had those untimed downs because of penalties. They're in the shotgun. What do you feel about that? If you're a red zone offense, do you want to be under center so you can throw the ball quicker, or do you like it better in the shotgun so you can see the field better?
Well, you can say you can see the field better, but there's a point in shotgun. You have to look at the snap because you can't just be looking at receivers while the ball's being snapped to you because you don't know where it's necessarily going to go, and you can't just not look at the snap. And while you're under center, you don't really have to worry about that. And you can look at the receivers immediately. So I always like being under center because in shotgun, there's that split second where you're looking at the ball and not the receivers.
I also think that half a second it takes you to get the grip on the ball because it doesn't always get snapped to you. You don't catch it right on the laces.
Right.
So all these things together, they take those few seconds, and that could be the difference between an open receiver or a covered receiver. It's odd that Roethlisberger seems to like the shotgun much better, and I understand it from a regular standpoint in the offense, but when you're that close to the goal line, especially inside that 10-yard line, I feel like you got to be able to line up at least with the look of a run. I mean, we don't even line a running back up half the time. We just go 5 wide and let him sling it around, and it's too obvious what we're doing.
Ladarius.
Yeah, I mean, it was just stupid. So I hope that the Steelers can try to work that out and do some different things in the red zone here this week against the Colts.
Will the defense have over or under 2.5 turnovers?
Under. I think they're at most will get 2 turnovers.
Scott Tolzien's going to take care of the ball enough then to keep this game
I just don't think that the Steelers have ball-hawking defensive players to get those turnovers.
Artie Burns, son.
Oh, yeah, Artie Burns can get 1 or 2 himself, but I don't think he's going to get 3.
I'm going to call it Willie Gay gets his pick 6.
He needs it. He's slacking in that category.
All right, let's see. Frank Gore, over or under 70 yards rushing?
I'm going to say under, mostly because if Scott Tolzien plays, the Steelers know that they'll be able to shut down that passing game. Well, they should be able to because he's garbage. So I think that they'll be able to really focus on the running game, shut Gore down early, and then if they get a lead, Indianapolis will be playing from behind, so then Gore won't even see the football much.
Will a receiver other than Antonio Brown have 50 yards receiving? And not
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say Sammy Coates has a breakout game again, and he gets behind. This pass defense for Indianapolis is bad. I'm pretty sure they're the worst in the league against the pass. So I expect the receivers to be able to almost do whatever they want. Vontae Davis might be their best defensive back. I don't think he practiced yet this week, so he may not play. Robert Mathis didn't practice for that defense either. They said it was not injury related, so maybe just a day off because he's older. So he'll probably play. But I don't know. That pass defense doesn't scare me. So I think Coates can get behind some guys and make a play.
So what's your key to victory?
I've been harping on the offense to get the run game going. I think I'm going to go a little differently. I think they need to feature the pass in this game. I'm not saying don't run the football. You still want to run. Maybe pass to set up the run. Maybe not so much shotgun, but I know Roethlisberger likes it, so really whatever he's more comfortable in is fine with me. But with that 32nd ranked pass defense for the Colts, you got to get it going quick. You got to get points on the board. Put them behind early because you want Tolzien to try to play catch up. You don't want him to feel comfortable in this game. If the Steelers can go up by 1 or 2 scores early, and then the defense can even do half of what they did against Cleveland, I think that makes for a very hard day for that offense for the Colts. And I just don't think that they have the quarterback, if Luck doesn't play, to be able to handle it.
Yeah, I think even if Luck plays, you want to force him to beat you with him being injured with that concussion or whatever. And if Tolzien plays, force him to beat you as well. So my key to victory is going to be keep stuffing the run and gobble up Frank Gore. Huh? Anything? Believe it. Yeah, but that's about it. I really think force Andrew Luck, Scott Tolzien, yeah. Force one of those guys to beat you. Like I said, get to the quarterback like you did last week. Obviously, you're not going to come up with 8 sacks and 14 QB hits. But get to the quarterback and make these guys beat you. And I think you can force them into some mistakes and take advantage of that.
What's your official prediction?
Well, if Andrew Luck plays, I'm going to say the Steelers win 37-33. If Scott Tolzien plays, it's going to be a little bit lower scoring, 27-17. Both
I'm
Steeler
surprised.
wins.
I'm surprised you're giving him a 37 points on the road.
Yeah, I just feel like Big Ben's going to do a big primetime game. Last time he went out and played the Colts, he blew him up. Like you said, this defense sucks. I think this is going to be sort of like that Washington game where the offense does look good on the road. You said it was going to be last week versus Cleveland, and it's scary that it wasn't. I mean, they should have put up 35 points last week offensively, but I think this is the week it's going to happen.
I kind of agree. I don't think it's going to be that high scoring. I think if Luck plays, I don't know, he's been forcing the ball a lot. He's been getting beat up. I think if a concussed Andrew Luck plays, I think the Steelers actually roll the Indianapolis Colts 31-10. I don't think Luck will be very effective in a game with blitzes coming from different areas if the Steelers continue to blitz. I think Tolzien actually gives them the best chance at winning this football game. That being said, even if he's in, I think Pittsburgh can win this game 31-14. I don't think it's going to give them much of a difference, but I'm not a big fan of trying to play on a short week, period. I hate Thursday games. I realize it's Thanksgiving, so it's a special occasion. In the concussion protocol, I don't see how Luck could get out, and if he does, he's lying to the doctors about his symptoms. So he'll be concussed if he plays, and that never works out too well. So I think the Steelers pick up a pretty, easy victory, I guess, this week. Eat some turkey, living life up in Indianapolis.
I will say, don't forget, the Steelers lost to Ryan Mallett last season.
Yeah, I believe it.
So Scott Tolzien doesn't mean you're necessarily going to win no matter what.
They lose to Joe Flacco a lot. He's garbage. Fans, questions or comments, hit us up on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Hit me up on Twitter at betjimthewin. If you want to wish us a happy Thanksgiving, go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Keep coming back to YouTube. Eat lots of turkey. Eat lots of pie. What's your favorite Thanksgiving Day food? I think I ask you this every year.
I like green bean casserole, man.
Ooh.
It's not a normal dish for Thanksgiving, I guess. Not everybody eats it. You don't like it?
No, I don't like it.
Not
I don't like
feeling
the mushroom soup that people use when they make it.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Cream of mushroom soup, man. I love that stuff.
Nope, gross. I like stuffing. Stuffing is my favorite part of the holiday.
That's delicious, too. And the turkey's obviously good. Outside of that, those three things I'll eat all day.
Are you eating dinner with your family?
Yeah, and then I'm going to come out here and probably bring some food for Easy.
Yeah, I'm going to have two dinners, one with Audrey's family and then one with my own, so I was going to bring Easy some leftovers also because he said he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I think his aunt is cooking him a turkey as well.
Oh, okay, good. As long as he gets to eat something for the holidays. That poor bastard probably hasn't eaten a real meal since I left.
If Tombstone's a real meal, he's all over it.
He loves it.